Although many patients face racism when they are treated, many people forget that physicians also face discrimination and struggle due to the systems and power set in place by privileged elite.
Justice for healthcare professionals is often ignored and gaslit.
In this documentary, we will highlight some of the difficulties people of color face within the medical industry.
Hi everyone, this is our documentary on justice in healthcare. To start off, we have a television example that shows systems of power. Veiled racism is not always explicit. Healthcare professionals often face difficult challenges with patients, and implicit discriminatory behavior is unfortunately inherently included. This is a direct result of systems of power. Our example is a scene in Grey's Anatomy, specifically in Season 4, Episode 9, where Dr. Bailey's professionalism is tested when an injured paramedic refuses treatment due to her ethnicity. It is later revealed that he has a swastika tattoo on his abdomen.
You have to let me examine you.
I can wait. I'll wait for a guy.
You're shy, okay? I get that. This is no time for shy. Now, my hands may be smaller than a man's, but my brain is much larger, I assure you. Now, you're just going to have to let me examine
Do
you
not,
right
do not touch me.
for the love of
Dr. Bailey, you have an emergent situation?
No, he says he wants a male doctor. He doesn't want my female hands to touch him.
Let me see his chart. Shane, I'm Dr. Weber. I'm going to palpate your abdomen.
No.
I thought you said he wanted a male doctor.
He did.
No. I meant I want another. I want a different doctor. I'll wait for a different doctor.
A different doctor?
You mean you want a white doctor?
Moving on, we have a real-life experience. Not only do professionals face this discrimination when they treat ignorant patients, they also struggle against these same stereotypes amongst their peers and mentors. Here we see an example of intersectionality with Aleman and Garcia, who are in foods and medicine. They are first-gen Latino med students at UCLA with significant social media presence. They highlight their unique experience in this interview with Pre-Med CC.
Yeah, no, I agree completely with what Alexis said. And I also want to kind of acknowledge that, when people are not believing in you or whatever, or having their doubts about you, it can get to your head. I'm not gonna lie, sometimes, I do remember going to a high school counselor, and it was the only time I ever went, and I asked them oh, hey, I want to go to college, and they told me oh, college is not for you, you need to be thinking about trying to find a job. And obviously, hearing that, being the first time going to a high school counselor hoping to get help, and then hearing that it does suck, it does kind of hurt. But like Alexis said, it kind of also fueled me. I'm you know what, I'm gonna prove you wrong. Or actually, you know what, like you said, I'm gonna prove myself right. I really like that. That's what it's about. It's not really, you're not doing it for other people, but for yourself. And so I think really the most important thing along your journey, people are gonna always be doubting you and everything. It's all about having that faith in yourself, and really believing in what you can do. And I feel like that will take you really far.
Next, we have community outreach. This following interview captures the reality of many physicians. We hear statistics, see examples on TV, and know about the stories on the news. But it is always best to hear about someone's personal experience. In this interview, themes of intergenerational trauma is explored. Christina interviewed her brother and gained insight on his first-hand account.
All right. My credentials, I am a registered nurse for the medical ICU.
Okay, cool. And how long do you have experience?
I have 4 years experience in the ICU, 5 being a nurse.
And thank you so much for being here after a long shift, 12-hour shift. I appreciate you. So my question to you is, as a provider, have you experienced or seen racial inequality within the healthcare system?
Unfortunately, yes, I have seen them a couple times, to be honest. One big one I've noticed is having patients' families, since my patients aren't really able to talk, but families will fire the nurse, so could ask for another one. And what I've noticed a couple of times was when it was a black woman nurse, and once I take over and I get the report from the family, I see that they are upset because, first of all, they thought I was white, and I'm actually Hispanic, and they get a little upset with that. But hey, at the end of the day, we're nurses. Like, we're here to take care of your loved one, and they think it's more of that previous nurse being incompetent. But in reality, we're all nurses. We all go to school at least 2 years, 3, depending on if we have a BSN, 5. But yeah, they think it's a lack of competence, and it's pretty sad because we are competent.
So the patients' families have mentioned to you that the previous nurse that they fired, they did so because of their race.
Yes, and they get startled or upset when they find out I'm actually Hispanic.
So they wanted someone white.
Correct. Or another option or example would be of a family with like a Asian family wanting a fellow Asian nurse that speaks their language or is just more of their culture and are upset. And I've actually had this one ask. They asked specifically for their culture as a nurse. And I said, I'm sorry, but I'm all you got. That's it. I'm the only nurse open for admit.
So you've had personal experience with Asian
As
descent
well.
families. And just for context, you mentioned that the patients usually can't speak. What is that?
They're intubated, so it's ICU. It's usually
Okay.
the last stop before they go. The make it or break it point, which we try to prevent, obviously, and we try our best.
Right.
And we have to deal with that as well.
So your coworkers then, so in the cases where it's not directly against you, but in the cases you mentioned where it's black women or a black nurse, have you ever discussed that with them, or have they ever discussed it with you?
Of course.
Did they notice it? Did they feel it?
They do.
Yeah.
One thing about nurses, it's like a hornet's nest. You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us, and we're very tight. We get through it together. So yes, when one is affected, the other ones are as well. But at the end of the day, we're there to take care of patients. We're there to do our job
Okay.
and to go home to our families as well.
Right, and we thank you for all your hard work because it doesn't seem easy at all. Now, one last question: is there any solution that you could possibly think of that would help benefit possible providers going into healthcare, or even ones already in healthcare that experience some type of racial disparity, like the ones you mentioned?
Well, for my field, I mean, we always are told to go in with non-biased judgment, take care of everyone. Remember, we are human. Again, we all bleed the same. Well, I have noticed that's one thing. All blood's the same color. We're the same.
Awesome. Well, I agree, and thank you so much for your time again.
Thank you
we
for
appreciate
having me.
you, and thank you for helping bring awareness to this sensitive matter.
Of course.
Racism within the healthcare has no direct solution. However, holding institutions accountable for discrimination and demanding systemic changes for a more inclusive healthcare system can help create positive change.
An additional solution could be creating confidential support groups within hospitals that provide psychological and physical help, just like a therapist.
Say everyone, thank you for your attention.